Hello and welcome to another random chess puzzles video in which I'll do about 20 puzzles, and they can be any type of tactics to simulate more closely to a real game. So let's begin here. They'll be rated about 500 to 1,000. So these are for beginners or for anybody that just wants to brush up on their chess tactics. All right. So we just had a pawn push here, and it reveals an attack on our queen. But looks like that was a mistake for black. So what would you do in this position? And as usual, if at any time you need more time to think, then just pause the video. But the first thing to do is look for checks against your opponent's king. And it looks like, if you do that, you'll find that this queen can check multiple different ways, but it looks like the best move is to go here and mate. So a mate in one. So hopefully you found that one. Let's move on to the next problem here. Okay, a bishop has just developed attacking our queen. What can we do in this position? All right, well, as usual, is there any attack against the opponent's king? We'll check that first, and there doesn't appear to be not even any way to check this king. So now we have to look at the possibilities here. All right, well, the knight is pinned to the queen. So, what do we do here? Our queen is under attack. We could just block, but does that really do much? The bishop could just retreat. So, the bishop wouldn't want to retreat back here, or we would be able to trap it, after something like this. And then, but I'm thinking we should look at this. If we attack the knight, and then they capture our queen, we capture their queen, then what? Does that even work? So capture, and if they don't go after the queen, if they just recapture our bishop, then we pick off their bishop. So capture their knight. We're ahead in material here. They capture, we capture. Then what? They try and retreat here. Then what do we do? Or excuse me, they try and capture this pawn. So capture, capture. Capture their queen. They could capture here. We capture there. They could try and block us in. Kind of tricky here. But, we would just be up a piece. So let's go ahead and capture there. So we're up that knight. Okay, now we just capture back, and we just went ahead by a knight there. All right, on to the next problem. I hope you found that one. I'll try and speed this up a little bit so we can get through 20 problems. All right, so we have the king moving over, attacking here. But that does not look too good because there's a possibility of a discovered attack here. But does that do anything? And we have these bishops kind of firing up the board here. Okay. Well, if we move the knight for a discovered attack, they could block with this pawn attacking our queen. But if we use a double discovered check here by moving the knight here, whenever you have a double discovered check or a double check where two of your pieces are attacking the king at the same time, the only way to escape that is for the king to move. So what do we do then? Once we go here, I think that'll be it, because the knight will drop back to h3, checking along with the queen. And the king cannot go here to attack the knight, escape and attack the knight because of this move, or because of this bishop guarding h2. So check, and then the queen comes up here for mate. So interesting little checkmate there with a double discovered check that helped us produce this mate. And that was rated 950. All right, on to the next one. Pawn is pushed forward, attacking here, although it is protected. So what do we have in this position? Well, the first thing I notice is the rook. Well, both rooks lining up here. We have a knight that's ready to jump into the position, an attack here. If we sacrifice the rook, the king could just move here. So maybe that doesn't do much. If we try and check, the knight could block. So it looks better if we go here. Knight to f6. The pawn cannot capture because it's pinned by the rook. The king will have to move, and then that will allow a mate here. So hopefully you found this. And this is a common pattern that's good to know. Whenever you have a knight on f6 here, and you can have the king kind of trapped in the corner, and a rook is able to deliver a check protected by the knight either on h7 or g8, that will deliver a mate. All right, on to the next one. Okay, we just had a capture here. What did they take? A rook, and now this rook is under attack. So we need to act immediately here. Fortunately, because that bishop has captured here, it leaves the knight unguarded. So it looks like these bishops will work together. So hopefully you found this problem. Bishop captures here, delivering a check and mate because this bishop is working with the other bishop to cut the king off. So we have a mate in one there with these two bishops. So the bishop pair can be very dangerous if they have open lines to work with. All right, on to the next problem. The king was in check by our queen, just moved, but this does not look good for white. So hopefully you found this problem pretty simple. So just remember, look for those checks first. And if you do that, you'll find queen to f2 mate. So a simple mate in one, rated 540. All right, on to the next one. The knight is just captured here. What can we do? Well, once again, look for those checks. And sometimes they will be a mate or they can lead to a mate because the checks are pretty forcing. So the only way to check here is with the queen. So backed up by this bishop, you have a bishop-queen battery and mate here. All right, on to the next one. Okay, the rook has moved to e8 here, putting pressure on this knight along with the queen. What can we do here? What can we do? Well, we want to look at those checks and see what our pieces are doing. We have tripled 2 rooks and a queen here controlling this d-file. Our knight is under attack by the queen and the rook. But we have either a check by the knight, you know, an f7 or g6, or even a queen sacrifice. So how should we go here? All right. Well, okay. Well, you know, if we capture, or excuse me, if we play knight to g6, the pawn can just pick off our knight and protect this knight. But maybe knight to f7. The queen sacrifice, I don't think that is good because, you know, if the rook captured, well, then the knight would deliver a smothered mate, but the king would be able to capture the queen, and that could cause problems. That would, you know, save our opponent, I believe. All right. Looks like the knight to f7 move might be the way to go. If the rook captures, well, then we have the queen able to move up here and recapture. You know, then you threaten, well, I guess you would threaten to capture this rook. The rook could move here. But then we would also be attacking this knight. So this looks like the way to go here is to check. And it doesn't even go any further. This was rated 8-10. You know, if the rook captures here, what do we have? Well, the queen could capture, threatening to capture this. You know, then what? It is a little tricky after this. So they capture. You know, if they don't, if they move here, well, then there is this double discovered check that could cause problems. If they move here, you know, they don't want to do that because of the knight to h6 with the queen and knight double discovered check that'll lead to a mate. So they're kind of forced to capture here. Then our queen can capture, forking these 2 pieces. The rook has to guard here, and you would be able to pick this off. Oh, well, no, the queen is guarding there, but the rook has to do something. You know, I guess the rook, and the rook can't move off the back rank because of back rank mate threats. All right, on to the next problem. Let's keep this moving. We just had a capture here. All right, this is another common pattern. I was actually able to use something similar to this in a tournament game, an over-the-board tournament game before. Although there was a rook here, and I think I was able to check and then capture, you know, once the king moved, capture the rook and mate. The bishop wouldn't have been there. But here we can drive the king back with a check into the corner, and then we can sacrifice our queen. Rook will capture, and then the rook can mate. So check, and then we go for the mate here. All right, I hope you found that one. On to the next one. King was in check by our queen and steps to the side here. So what can we do? And we need to work in a hurry because there is a threat here, with all these white pieces swarming around our king. This capture of our bishop is possible, but it looks like well, we need to move in a hurry here. The first thing I see, well, once again, look for checks. The queen can't really check anymore because of all these pieces guarding the squares around the king. So we have to look at this bishop, and so that would lead us to bishop to c5, checking. And the king cannot go anywhere because of the queen, so you would have to block here. Now, that would allow us to capture, checking again, and then the queen would have to give itself up here. Or a block by the rook. Okay. Well, this is the way to go. So here, and then there. And instead of trying to block with the rook, because then we could just capture, they give up their queen there. All right, on to the next one. What do we have next? Okay, the knight has just moved forward here, forking our king and this rook. What should we do here? All right. Well, oh, and there is this problem here. So not looking so good here. Not looking so good. All right. If we capture here, well, then the rook could capture, and it's not looking good. We would have to block with our queen, I believe, or yes, with the queen. So we just capture here. Oh, so this one is looking a little tricky here. All right. All right. Our queen is protecting the rook. We don't want to give that up if we capture here. And then there would be a check. That would cause problems. This could be picked off after the check. There's this possibility of a check here if our queen moves. All right. Well, we're in check, so we have to deal with that. It looks like we should take with the bishop. I don't know. This is looking kind of crazy here. Do we have an attack on the king? As always, you should take a look at that. Well, kind of tricky here. So, maybe we just go here. Okay, they capture. So now we're kind of forced to pick this off. Oh, well, no, we have to do that because the king, whenever you're in check, your options are to capture the attacker, to block, which we can't block, or run. If we run here, the queen will get picked off. So once we capture, the queen can capture here. Then what? Well, looks like we're forced to take this. So then they capture here. And now what do we have? There's a threat of a mate here. So, oh, well, then we just pick this off. So there's that. All right, hopefully you found that. That one, I don't know, was a little trickier, 760. So by doing these random chess puzzles and problems like this, it may help you find certain areas that you need improvement on. So I had a little bit more trouble with that one than some of the other ones. Okay, so the queen is threatening here. Threatening a mate in one. So we need to act immediately. What can we do here? Well, we have to look for checks because there does not appear to be a way that we can stop this. If we capture this bishop, the pawn allows the queen to mate here. So, all right, checks. The only thing I see is a knight jump with a check that could be captured both ways, and the queen off to the side of the board here. So hopefully you found this problem. It looks like queen will check here. The only thing that can be done is a block, but then what do we have next? A check by the knight, and the king will have to move into the corner, and then we deliver the mate by capturing that rook. All right, get up here. Sorry, I had a mouse issue there. All right. So now, like I said, check with the knight, driving the king into the corner, and we capture the rook and deliver the mate here. So there you have it. On to the next one. The bishop has just captured our bishop. And once again, we have that little pattern. So look for the checks first. We don't want to go here. The queen could just capture our queen. That leaves, this queen moving up the c-file. We don't want to go here or we'll just be captured. But we have this move, queen to c7. And this is also similar to the pattern that I had in a tournament game where you attack the rook and the king. The king has to go into the corner. And here you cannot capture the rook because it's guarded, but you can sacrifice the queen and then mate with the rook. So check, check, and mate. All right, hope you found that one, rated 880. On to the next one. We'll try and get these 20 finished here. All right, the rooks have doubled on the f-file. The queen is also swarming around white's king. But black's king is stuck out here kind of over in no man's land. And if we look for the mates, or excuse me, the checks, they will lead to the checkmate. So hopefully you found this queen check and mate here. So just queen to b5 mate. All right, a mate in one. So on to the next problem. We have a rook blocking this check and attacking our queen. Do we have a way to mate our opponent here? I think so. All right, look for those checks once again. Now, we don't want to check here with our queen. You know, of course, it would be captured by the rook, the rook or the bishop. Bishop check here. Does that do anything? Allows the king to escape over here. So if we look at another queen check, hopefully you found this. Queen to h1 here, delivering the mate, because the bishop will cut off this escape square, and so we have a back rank mate in 1. So always be on the lookout for those back rank mate possibilities. All right, 5 more problems. We're on number 16. Okay, what happened here? The bishop just repositioned, threatening a checkmate here. So we need to get ours in before them. All right. How do we do it? Well, look for those checks. Okay, obviously we don't want to go here. The rook will capture us. If we go here, the bishop will capture us. You know, king could capture us here. So it doesn't look like an immediate check with the queen will work. But we have a rook swarming over here. So we don't want to go here and check, or the rook will just capture. So maybe rook to a8. Hopefully you found that. Rook to a8, forcing the king to move to the only square available, which is here. And then the queen can deliver the mate on d8 here. All right. There we have it. Okay, on to the next one. Knight has just moved forward here. All right, what can we do? Well, hopefully you found this problem. As I said, first things first, look for any check possibilities that could mate or lead to a mate. And it looks like we have one here. All right. Queen to h2 mate. Hopefully you found that. Backed up by the bishop here. Okay. What do we have here? A rook has repositioned. Maybe to go here and threaten a mate here. But what do we have? Well, hopefully you have found this one. Look for those checks. You know, the rook could check, but the king would capture. What about the queen? Queen cannot capture here because of this queen covering that. But there is this possibility. Capture the pawn on f2 with check. The king will have to run, and then we deliver a mate here backed up by the rook. All right. I hope you got that one. We have 2 left. Here we go. The queen did what? Was there a capture there? So now, another one of these back rank mate possibilities. So let's double check that it works. We have a rook queen battery here, and the same old theme where we can deliver a check, driving the king into the corner, and then sacrifice the queen and mate with the rook. So there you go. Hopefully you got that one. Now to the final problem. All right. Knight has jumped forward, unveiling an attack on our queen. We could just pick off that bishop, but then, you know, perhaps they would pick off our bishop with a check. So look for those checks, and hopefully you found this. So an easy one to end these puzzles with, a mate in 1. Queen captures here, backed up by the bishop. All right. Well, just remember to do regular chess tactics problems, daily if you can, and over time, that will definitely help improve your overall chess play, and maybe help you prevent having as many blunders as you get better with tactics. Okay. Well, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Feel free to leave any comments. Thank you for watching and have a super chess day.